Hello, 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 and welcome. Welcome to Elevate Your Brand Videos. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate every single person who's here, and I'm really looking forward to getting into this information and ultimately sharing what I've learned. If you will forgive me, I'm going to tune in this vocal a little bit. I want you to be able to hear me super crystal clear, and I want everything to come through. So definitely let me know in the chat how it sounds, if you can hear me okay, and let me know where you're tuning in from. If you happen to be here live, definitely let me know. Are you tuning in from the US, from the UK? Where is it? Where are you? Let me know in the chat. And we're going to get started in just a moment. My name is Ezekiel. I am representing Gentle Media, my company, in sharing this presentation with you. Basically because I realize this amount of value that I've gained from wonderful experiences, just enriching experiences that taught me a lot. And that's what this presentation is full of. So I'm going to really speak to kind of two groups here. And let me get where I can join you. Hello, hello. It's great to see you. I want to get straight into the presentation because that's what we came here to do. And I want to show you exactly what it's going to take to get better videos. Now, ultimately, I'm going to get into kind of my goals and our goals for this conversation. And I want you to let me know if you have questions. If you have questions during the presentation, put them in the chat. If you have questions after the presentation, you can go ahead and email me at hi@ezekielgentle.com, and I'll show you that here in a moment. Exactly. These are the goals. So I want you to walk away with some really practical value, but I also want you to be aware that there's going to be an amount of note-taking that I'd recommend, because this is going to be a lot of information in 30 minutes. So I really appreciate you being here, and I want you to think about how you can consume, how you learn the best. Is that through writing? Is that through drawing? I'm somebody that I actually learn the best when I'm drawing, able to just kind of free to doodle while I'm listening. So I started a timer. I want this to be less than 30 minutes. It's probably going to be closer to 20 minutes. So I'm going to get into this right away. And I just want to say that my video is covering part of the presentation, so I'm going to move that. I'm going to move that right now. One moment. Let me just do that. Isn't that great? Okay, those are the goals. All right, everybody. Well, ultimately, if you're watching this video, you are one of two groups of people. You're either in the group of people that are making the content, making the videos yourself, for yourself, or you're paying somebody to make them for you. I want to give both of these groups information and value that's going to help long term, because my question is, are we all satisfied? Are we all happy with where our video game is? And it's not so much about our personal preference, but are we really competing at the level of business in marketing with our videos representing a brand that we ultimately want to represent? Or are we kind of shooting from the hip, and every time we have an idea for a video, we message somebody? I want both people who are paying for videos and not paying for videos to have a more succinct process to get their jobs done in a successful way. So for shooters, people who are making their own videos, this comes down to what I want you to walk away with is production quality increase, better creative concepts, just from a general perspective. Not that I'm going to be giving you ideas, but once you have structure, it's pretty amazing to kind of see what the limitations of those structures are. And then also inspiration to scale and go up and up and up and shoot on better cameras and shoot with better gaffers and better directors for everybody. for the other group, for the buyers, I really want to establish some brand needs for you. I want you to be able to say, okay, based on this presentation, I know that I need visual storytelling. If that's the only thing that you walk away with, great. That's incredibly important. I also want you to be able to find relevant producers and get project timelines and deliverables in a place where you know what's going to happen. You know when you're getting and you know what you're getting. And that's going to help not just you, but also your team, if there's a team. It's also going to help your entire campaign for the next year. And that's ultimately what the first step is, so I don't want to get ahead of myself. But speaking of myself, I do want to tell you a little bit about me. And that's why I put this slide here, because these are all jobs that I've been on. I've been on set for all of these companies. And not only do I have this incredibly rich network of professionals in Los Angeles who introduced me to some of this work, but also I was able to see what the top level really offers. And what that is an opportunity to have an excellent piece of visual content, to pursue excellence with what I call movie magic, what the business calls movie magic, and I'll share that in a moment. But I just wanted you to know that I've had some wonderful experiences where I've learned a lot, and I want to share what I've learned. And that's what this presentation is all about. It comes down to quality. The standard of something as measured against other things of a similar kind, or the degree of excellence of something. So as we talk about production quality, we really want to think about ultimately, what is this piece of content being used for? Of course, user-generated content is incredibly valuable. In fact, we should all be driving for more results with user-generated content. People who've either received our products or our services, or even our followers, if they can give us information in the form of how their experience was, that goes such a long way with future prospects and prospective clients. So ultimately, that's what this entire conversation is going to come down to, is quality. And where are we going to land on the spectrum of quality, and just knowing what those expectations are. It's going to go a long way. So the reason this is even a conversation is because of these issues. Everybody truly can be an amazing photographer now. We have these amazing computers, powerful machines with ridiculously powerful cameras. That's a wonderful thing. We should definitely celebrate that. It does increase the amount of people who are participating in that space. In addition to that, we sometimes lose the sense of the purpose versus the use. We think because we see everybody posting something, we then need to do what they've done, when in fact all the most innovative strategies and campaigns have been out of a place of true innovation, where they made this quantum improvement in their message because they got away from the noise of the space. They got away from just seeing what the use was. So if you truly will purpose a piece of visual content, anything from 15 seconds, 30 seconds to 90 seconds, and put that intent behind it, that's what we're going to get into. The last issue here on the problems list is quality threshold. Shaky, blurry, underexposed video with low audio quality won't ruin anyone, but among a sea of mediocrity, the pristine stands out. Production quality outshines its surroundings. And that's a fact. Yes, it does. You can see this in many films and commercials. This is not a conversation about what are you shooting on. It's everything around what that event is, that production is. Because if we can get enough tools in place, every time we go to shoot or get somebody to capture content for us, it's going to be exactly what we want. And then we can iterate and innovate and produce better quality. A couple things to keep in mind before we get into the 5 keys here. I do have 5 very specific keys that I'm going to be sharing, 5 keys to better production quality. And ultimately, if you follow these or you use them, you will have better quality. These are questions that I find incredibly important. Remember why. Brand awareness. Self-shot videos are perfect for those who already bought into the brand and seeing more connection. Commercial videos precisely designed for targeted customers. And then among the question, is video for me? Is this really relevant? I just need to focus on posting regular stills. What's amazing is you don't even have to think about what video am I going to use. I'm just wanting us to zoom all the way out as far as we possibly can and think about what could video do for me, my company, whatever that is. That's where I want us to think about, because the value of great visuals is exponential. It's exponential. So shoot or shop, basic or budget, based on your brand's current needs. Does an in-house production pipeline meet your goals? If not, how will you incorporate video to introduce the brand? So in-house production, a lot of the companies that are producing videos rely on their own team first, and that's what should be expected. But is there a pipeline? Is there a real strategy? Is there an efficient workflow that's going to show real results? And of course, the solution is what we're going to get into, these 5 keys. What content is needed? What's the best method to get that content? And then using that deliverable in action. What does it look like when, after the agreement is signed, the product is published? And what's that timeline? So these are all questions that I'm going to get into. If you have any specific questions, I would love to hear from you. Just email me at, oh, you know what? I just realized this sticker is still up here. I apologize. Let me move this sticker, you guys. Get this out of here. Yeah, let me move it down. Great. Email me at hi@ezekielgentle.com or just drop a comment. So the solution to premium productions, or the solution to those problems, is premium productions, amazing quality. And we haven't even talked about budget or gear yet. So this is about mentality. This is about paradigm. This is about value for photography. If you value incredible images, it's important, and you have a business, if you have a brand, anybody who's wanting to use video is wanting to use storytelling, visual, consummate storytelling. And we can all get better. We can all improve the quality of what we're doing. But if we're driving for a result with a company, for revenue, for service, for funding, for nonprofits, any videos for corporate messaging, for internal messaging, any videos ultimately can scale in their production quality. The question is just, are we putting in the time and the strategy to have those conversations so that there is a production pipeline? All right, let's get into what these keys are, how we would execute. This is a path to basically a timeline. The first event, of course, would be, documenting the current business needs is so helpful for any creative you're going to reach out to, because if you can actually document what the goal is, why you're reaching out to them, it's going to go a really long way in your future communication with them, because everything they send back to you will be against this first precedent that you set. That's, here's a PDF of the 10 things I want to accomplish. Here are the 3 ways I think what you're doing can help me accomplish that. And then determine the budget and the resources available. Then you approve the creative, the concept from an in-house or hired producer. Excuse me, I have some coffee. Thank you. Goodness. Then you revise the final product in post-production. Then you publish that in alignment with the campaign goals. This is a very, very crude and basic outline, okay? This is a timeline. So I just want us to have a general agreement about what the process is from ideation to publication, and that's really what this is. And of course, I come in right in the middle. I would be providing the creative, unless you're using in-house. The in-house person would be right in the middle, where they're bringing you the concept, the documents that we're going to talk about, and you're then approving or revising those documents that they're sharing with you in-house, internally. And then you would go into production right in here somewhere. And there's another timeline for this I'll get back to. Yeah, this is it. So why don't we come back to this in just a moment? I want you to look at the client path, and then look to the left. Creative, conception, funding, casting, crew, location scouting, that's all pre-production. That's done in tandem with your producer or your in-house producer. They will then go into production. Of course, the client approves the visuals, of course. But moving at some point, this conversation needs to have happened way before you're on set. And it's a breakdown of communication. Did we get it? Did we not get it? That's a question I love to avoid. If we can avoid that being a question, and we know for certain when we got it and when we don't, it helps everybody. Again, I just realized the video is covering that. Why don't I move this again? Thanks for your patience rocking with me, you guys. This is going to be so sick. I'm so stoked to post this. I'm just really, really excited about this because I took so much for granted about filmmaking, about TV, and about production. And it's taken me being in some experiences to realize I'm really passionate about doing it the right way. And I know some people think that, oh, there can't be a right way, but it's because it's about creativity. And I'm not saying it has to be the right way. For example, Elf, the movie Elf, they stole a lot of their shots. Right? It just means they didn't get a permit for it. And he's in, Times Square in New York, and he's talking to people that are not in the film. Maybe they signed India, or maybe they signed something afterwards, but I don't think so. The point is just one of the right ways, either fully licensed with unions, with all the correct insurance and policies and procedures, or guerrilla filmmaking, student filmmaking, indie filmmaking. There's a spectrum there as well. But within all of these productions, and this is the point I really want to highlight, within all productions, if you do not plan, you are planning to fail. If you fail to plan, you're not going to make it. And what happens is nobody gets what they want. So having the conversations ahead of time to determine what is desired by both the creative director, the client. In this scenario, of course, the client, what are they looking for? That happens at the way up here at the pre-production level. Way up here. So it's far before we're on any set at any location. Okay. Here come the 5 keys. Of course, this impact is huge. Many of you probably know this. There are a lot of statistics I could have shared here, but 84%, that's the percentage of people who will stay on your website and be converted versus not having a video. And what do you think that video says? It says everything, because it's their first experience of the brand of the company in their own space. It says everything. So, production key 1, plan for everything. This is, and then here are the 2 audiences. I basically split it down here on the left and the right so that everybody, whether you're going to make it yourself or you're going to contract somebody to make it for you, can get something out of this. So whether it's just you in your apartment or with a team for the shooters on the left in the left-hand column, create a shared document with all involved to discuss meeting schedules, shot lists, lookbooks, project timelines, prop lists, locations lists, gear lists, production supplies, food and water provisions, health and safety tools and facilities. You get the idea. I just realized my video is covering this other thing now. Sorry about that. Let me move it over into the drop So even if you're making this video yourself, take the time to create a note, create enough information to plan how many angles of this am I going to get? If you're using a camera, what are the lenses I'm using? If you're using a phone, what lengths of my phone's camera lens am I using? Am I going to back up and do a zoomed in thing? Am I going to do slow-mo right up close to them? Like, planning that out, just getting a couple ideas down, it's going to help you because it'll create more ideas. For those who are going to be contracting someone to get a commercial made or a social media video made or a website video, expect a breakdown of what would be at cost. So a top sheet with a total cost and breakdown of each item by department to ensure the desired level of quality ultimately. Simple, thoughtful, planned communication should take place from conception, and scheduled check-ins upon reached milestones during the project are critical. It's really important that you have an open dialogue with everybody who is involved. All right, the second production key that I'm sharing is light for success. Too often, we don't have the appropriate lighting. I'm going to speak first to those who are shooting themselves, those who are filming on their own. And when outdoors, shoot 1 hour before sunrise or 1 hour after sunset to capture the softest, direct, natural light. Using natural light is something that is super important for us all to learn how to do because that's what we usually have. When you're inside, of course, avoid overhead lighting and face the windows if you can. Face whatever big source of light you have. Guys, something on my mic just tripped out, so I'm going to just check in on this. Let's see here. Yeah, no, it's sounding okay. No, it's sounding a little crazy. Give me one moment here, all right? Okay, it's just me, so we're good. We're good. For those who are contracting for videos and you're thinking about lighting in the conversations with whoever's shooting the video for you, beyond just beautiful cinematography, it's really important that they leverage tools like diffusion and in-camera effects, practical effects, coloring, compositing. I'm bringing all this up just to say that there is an entire process on the back end that really goes, that is the difference. It's not just goes a long way, it's actually the difference between commercials and cinema and other videos. There's a certain look to a film that has been colored by Da Vinci, which is a software that just brings out this, the critical colors that are in the actual photography. So there are two sides to this, and it's just important that we know what we're going to be using. And when we have sunlight, sunrise, sunsets, it's great to know. Great to know when those are and how to use them. Okay, production key number 3, and we're at right in the middle, and we're at 21 minutes. So we're moving right along. We've got about 5 more minutes here. And for those who are on their own for this section, the production key 3, rolling formats, it's all about what's the frame rate, what's appropriate, what's the goal. I'm not a cinematographer, but this is a question you could ask any of your cinematographer friends when you're setting up a video. Hey, I'm shooting this video and I want it to look really cinematic. What should I, or just Google it, what frame rate should I shoot it in? If it's going to be something that you do want to be cinematic, 24. You'd want to shoot in 24 frames per second. If you're going to be speaking, and I just lost this audio. Okay, and it must just be me, because I can still hear everything just fine. Let me make sure it's coming through. Yes, it is. Great. Okay, let's keep it going. For those who are hiring out for this, the final projects that are delivered, you want to be sure it's in some kind of secure private link if it's not going to be delivered physically through a card, through a memory card, which if you're local to those who are creating the content, of course, that would, it's highly likely that would happen. You want to incorporate the design, sound, and audio as well as, yes, you're going to be approving all the way through this section with the producer. You or somebody on your team is going to be in touch with them every step of the way to be aware of timeline, when it's going to be ready, and ultimately if you're getting what you're looking for. Okay. And yeah, this is about quality control, but this doesn't happen when you just send somebody away with their proposal. Yes, we'll take that. Great. Look forward to hearing from you in 6 weeks. There's a real opportunity to communicate effectively here. And that's ultimately what I am passionate about, is having those conversations early and often. So know what you're shooting. What's the frame rate? What's the gear? What's the lighting setup? We already talked about lighting, talked about the plan. Now you're going in. What are you actually going to be using? Do you have enough storage? Do you have an audio setup that's not in camera? That's super critical. And then, of course, if you're hiring out for this, it's going to be, what are the milestones along this production that we're going to be checking in on? Or is the client going to potentially be on set one of the days or for a specific day? There's a lot of opportunity there to collaborate, like I said. So involving the client is super important for everybody. Communicate. All right, and then number 4, production key number 4, action. This is when you're on set, you're ready for the content to get captured. Plan each shoot according to the provided shot list, one-liner, or shooting schedule, or treatment. You could enter any document there. Entering into production with a shared guiding document is highly recommended. This is recommended by everybody, whether it's an outline, an email, something to really show and gain agreement on what the terms are and what's going to be happening. It's going to really ensure there's not just camaraderie and collaboration, but trust built, so that if it's on location and not just one person, that you can make sure everything goes accordingly. If you're the client in this situation, we're on key number 4. So we've talked about planning, lighting, camera, action. You're on set, and I'll just read what I have here. Expect project updates as milestones are accomplished, while also letting the professionals work. One client representative will approve each shot as compared to its proof, predetermine what updates will be desired to ensure communication. So this is just saying, don't, I recommend that everybody ensure that they're going to get what they want. And that starts with the client and the producer agreeing on, is this a 30-second video in 4K with these visuals? Having that documented and agreed upon, and then broken down by shot, because again, we talked about sizes, we talked about lenses. What does it look like when we're over their shoulder? And now we have the product in their background. Is the product in focus, or is the person in focus? So those are the kinds of questions you ultimately get into, but you can ask the right questions when you have a plan, in place. Okay, so when you're ready to be on set, just know that that's when you're going to rely heavily and the most on whatever shared document was created, because that's going to be the guiding light. Once time starts ticking, experiences just tend to change. People change. when time starts ticking, everybody's interests immediately go to a different place. So it's incredibly important that you absolutely have a bottom line. We're getting this, this, and this. Okay, key number 5. The next steps. I put this in the middle because it's for both. Whether you are filming your own videos or you're hiring someone, the post-production process, coloring it, getting great sound, that's all super important. Of course, we're not all doing that for our social media, but again, there's a purpose and a place for our self-shot videos. There's a purpose and a place for a reel, a Instagram live video, a 5-second boomerang. What I'm talking about are these hero pieces, ultimately, these pieces that we're wanting to put out as a brand statement to show this is where we are right now. This is what we have right now. This is our taste. This is what you can expect from us. This is how we do business, ultimately. And let me move this thing. And I think that'll work. I was just moving I have a screen. If you're listening along, I have a screen, and it's basically I've been covering up some of my slides, so that's what I'm fixing. The very last step on this production key number 5, which is it's a wrap. You have the content, you have the video. What do we do now? Well, you publish it to the intended platform. So this is where your campaign strategy comes into play. Notice how that's not the same thing as the production of the video, because that video, let's say it's 60 seconds, the likelihood that you will post it once to your feed and then it's never going to live anywhere else is really low. It's probably going to have the most value driven and extracted of it by cutting it and reposting it. Posting, who knows, maybe 10 6-second videos. Can you imagine? Well, if it's the right content, and if you have certain shots per 6 seconds, guess what? That's incredibly possible. So that needs to happen first, or it needs to be blatantly aware to the producer that is a need. Just make it aware that that's a need, because I guarantee you they'll know somebody they could recommend if you don't already have that in your pocket. That's one of the big values that I bring to the table that I'm excited about, is being able to talk to that level of quality. Everything from the quality of the glass on the camera, to the safety of the set, to getting the paperwork in order. These are all things that I've learned over time and ultimately now know that I can leverage for incredibly valuable commercial videos. I have a partnership with a company that I have worked with a lot, and their work is insanely captivating. And so I'm super excited about that. I'd like to do another video on just their services at some point. But this is number 5. So in summary, plan your shoot. Make sure you know the lighting. Make sure you know what you're going to be using, camera, phone. But again, all that's going to go into the plan. On the day, rely on that plan like crazy, because that's going to be the guiding light to make sure that you have what you're looking for, what you're looking to accomplish. And publish it with intent, with a purpose, with a campaign strategy behind it. This is all extremely basic. I hope it's really helpful. What I'd like to do is create a PDF. So if you're interested in that, definitely just send me an email at hi@ezekielgentle.com. That's EZEKIELGENTLE.com. And last slide here, I switched it up. So for those of you who are on the right side here, creating your own content, I hope from these 5 steps, and feel free to screenshot them, but again, writing your own notes and just going through this and thinking about what it means for you is going to be the most helpful. But I hope that no matter what, you got some valuable production quality information to improve your videos, and then also to affect your creative concepts. And we're all on a scale. There is no arrival. There is no destination. It's about the journey of if you're in this space on the right side, if you're creating content, it's about the journey of increasing the quality of that storytelling in the area that you feel most impassioned by. If that is video, shooting the video and the cinematography, cool. If that's putting the team together of the professionals, cool. If that is hair and makeup, lighting, set design, these are all incredibly important roles, and nothing with movie magic would get made without them. But you do need to know what drives you if you enjoy that space and if you want to do more of that. For those on the buyer side, I hope you got some valuable brand needs met. That you're aware that, okay, my brand does have the need to tell a story visually. Whether it's in-house or not, we need to be leveraging this tool. It's a really powerful tool, video. And also on the buyer side, I hope you will find relevant producers and know what you're looking for in a project timeline and deliverables. So what's the content? When do you need it by? Answering those two questions really helps you ultimately have the exact piece of content you want with that spark of creativity that you brought that producer in for that reason. But there are amazing people all around, so find a relevant producer who's making the content you like. Hey, I saw your video on that other restaurant and I want mine to look just like that. That's a great way to make sure that you're going to get what you're looking for when you have a reference of something they've already done. Well, that is wrapping it up. That was 5 keys to unlock production quality, better business videos. I really appreciate you being here. My name is Ezekiel Gentle. I run Gentle Media Creative Services. Please let me know in the comments if you enjoyed this video or this format and which one you found the most helpful. Go ahead and send me an email if you want a PDF of a breakdown of this information, and I'll see you on the internet.